Well, this is the best way to start the day. Moon is just about going down. When I got here I had a little bit of light. That looks like the moon and Venus through there, through the trees. Yeah, had some fairly good light when I got here, but it's kind of dying down a bit now. So all I have now is the light of the fire. Which, get some good coals in here and then I can make some breakfast. It's always nice to be out here at early o'clock. Early o'clock's a good time to start the day. That way you get more done. Right, gonna get some heat going in here, get some breakfast going, warm everything up, including me. It's a little chilly this morning. I think it's only 7 or 8 degrees, something like that. Still t-shirt weather, dunno, but it yeah, definitely early morning o'clock, feet in front of the fire, warm those up for sure. Yeah, got a lot of walking to do today. Hopefully, if all goes well, I should be building a bridge today. But got to find some decent sized trees when I get there. Yeah. Right, I'm going to let this fire do its thing, and then I'm going to get some breakfast going. Well, I'm back out here at the site I cleared out the other week, and now I'm looking. There's a whole bunch of deadfall over in there. I can see. Got all my gear off. Ooh, bear sprays fell over. Yeah. I've got a couple of these with me today. Just make sure they're there. I remember my tape measure. And look what I found on the way up here. I'm going to have a look, see if I can find the other one. That's pretty cool, eh? Bloody heavy, I can tell you that. Moose antler. Yeah. Right, so my plan today is, I have a very nice nature-made bridge on this side. But what I would like is, there used to be one right here. There was a bridge crossing across here, but as you can see, these logs are a touch rot now. So my plan is, where this one is, where this log is here, is to make another bridge across there. Yeah. I need to look at that and see what I can do. There's a lot of trees down in here. Lots of good green ones too, that are down or in the process of coming down, that would make very good bridges. So my first job is to measure that log. Ta-da! Makes it easy if you bring one of these with you. Right, let me get set up and I'll take some measurements. Well, bridge is done. It was originally going to be a 3-log bridge, but I can tell you now, these logs are considerably heavy. I had to drag one of them for about 100 yards, and I just almost got it to here, and a guy came along the trail and gave me a hand for about the last 20-30 feet just to get it across this gap. Once I got one across the gap, it's actually a lot easier. There was one existing one underneath which still had a bit of structure to it, so I've left it under there. It's a little shorter than the ones I put on there, but I put them on there and it works. A little springy. I didn't have the best of cord with me. I do have to get some more cord to tie this properly. This one is 22 feet long, that one. Yeah, that's why it's a little bouncy. Now some people are probably going to say, hey, why don't you just put the big ends and the little ends together? Well, I've done that in the past, and yes, it makes a flatter bridge, makes it much flatter, it's much easier to walk across. However, you find they're way more springy. If you do like both big ends together, by the time you get to the other end, like the little end, it's actually quite springy. So I found over the years, and I have a technique, and I kind of walk with my foot sideways like that. So but I can tell you now, they're mighty, mighty heavy, those logs. But I originally wanted, let's put that rock in there. I've wedged some rocks. I like to wedge a few rocks and that around the end, because once it's sat there and what have you, it'll be good. Now, not long down the trail from here, just down that way, it joins onto another trail, which I've used many, many times in the past. So there is a tree over there that's fallen like a natural bridge. However, that tree is pretty rot, and it's been just a single tree. It's a bit of a pain to get across. So this one, it's if you walk, people say, you know, got the big tree, but if you walk with your foot like this, kind of sideways like that. One sideways, one straight. It's actually really easy to cross there. He says as he finds one little piece sticking up that I need to trim off. Oh yeah, I see it. One of the little branch pieces that I just stepped right on the edge of the only branch piece that's in there. Yeah, there was one log already across there, so I've left that one. Might as well have a little bit of extra support from that. Might as well while it's there. I dragged a whole bunch of this dead stuff out of here because where they clog up like this, what tends to happen is the doesn't look like it'll pose much of a restriction to water flow, but anything that slows it down is a pain. But when you get to this corner, there's a whole bunch of dead down in this corner. I pulled an absolute mess of that, trees and garbage out of there, so that's good. That opens it up in there a little bit. Because the next time we get a flood, and trust me, there will be a next time, there always is, but that bridge should be higher. That's why I made it a little bit longer. Because the other ones, I've come along here and their logs were just about touching the water. So I've actually come up about another foot. That's why I made them longer than the original ones. So I've come up about a foot. Yes, this tree you can walk across is not bad, but that is infinitely better than what was there. I didn't have very good cordage with me, so I am going to pick up some proper cord tomorrow. That's only fairly thin cord actually, it's only like quarter. I usually use 3/8 and I strap it down really, really tight. The other thing I use for my bridges, if I'm making a flat bridge, like if they were like all the same direction, is webbing strap. And I've used that many times on bridges all over the place. I used to build bridges like this in the UK, and I used to use car seat belts, old car seat belts, and you wrap it around it, put a few screws in it, tension it up so you pull it really, really tight to pull the logs in, and then put a few screws in it through it. Trust me, that ain't going nowhere. That stuff is incredibly strong and it stays there for years and it doesn't move. But I will be coming back out of here again with some decent cordage and tied it up properly. But yeah, it works. Whatever works. So I can tell you now, it's out of wet feet. Yeah, so originally I wanted 3 logs across there, but 2 will have to do, because I can tell you now, just getting those 2 here bloody near killed me. So I could literally drag them 3 feet at a time. I don't know what those logs weigh, but it's any more than 3 feet at a time was just way too much. Would have been nice, like you look at it and you think, okay, yeah, put the big ends and little ends together, but it does actually make for a much more bouncy bridge. I learnt that the hard way, especially on the long span like that. If you're only doing a short span, doesn't matter. If you're getting like 8-10 feet, doesn't matter. That's 22 foot, so that's a reasonable span and fairly bouncy. Still bouncy. That's why you centre tie it. See these the pieces I put in the middle here. If you watch, let's see if I can make it bounce. It does actually make it a little bit bouncy. Hey, whatever works. If it works, it works. Right, just going to trim those last little pieces off there, those little pieces that are sticking up. And away I go. Oh, that was a good job. Been meaning to do that for ages. But, I'll walk down the trail here in a mo once I've got all my kit on, and I'll show you where I found that other tree. Good grief, can't believe I dragged it all the way up here. Right, way better than it was. Oh, I've just been up the trail a little bit further to make sure that the cut across to the other trail I'd like to use is all in good shape, and it is. Yeah, look glorious day with the sunshine, eh? Right, so I think what I need to do is put these, if I can get them off my hand, put these nipper things away. This is what I use for just a cut and light scrub and what have you. I don't need those for the rest of this trail because this one is already cleared out nicely. That's the advantage of walking up down the trails. But you do that 3 or 4 weekends. Just cut off a little bit of brush here, a little bit of brush there. You can't do it all in one hit. It's actually a huge amount of work. It's an enormous amount of work. Right, now I need to get across here without falling in, because that would be rather bad. new bridge and then fall off it. That would not be good. There we go. Job done. A new bridge. Would have been better with 3 logs, but I had to go some distance. I'll show you where I got that other log from. I had to drag that log, which was probably a good 200-300 pounds, all the way up here. Hence all the scrape marks. I'll show you where I found that one. I don't want to use dead wood. I don't want to cut down a live tree. Obviously, I want stuff that's already on the ground. But I'll show you where I found that one. That was quite the job getting that thing up here. I did actually put some smaller logs in key places along there and just rolled it across the top of it. Reduces the friction. Yeah, here's one of my roll logs. Now I cut that out in here somewhere. Where was it? Oh yeah, over in there. Yeah. So I had to drag that one over here. That's where I cut it off. Over there in the middle of that lot. Then I have to drag it out of here. It's fairly heavy. It even crushed that old rotten log. Look. Yes, that was a bit heavy getting that out of there. Then drag it all the way back up there. Yes, not fun. That's why it's only a 2-log bridge. But it works. I just need some decent cordage underneath it now. Tied all together good. Be surprised, centre tying them. You wouldn't think tying the 2 in the middle actually makes a big difference. I can tell you it does. This little creek here is very deceptive. There's a really wet, boggy area off to my left. Actually, all up through here is just wet, boggy area, which is why they rerouted all the trails and that through here. But the guy I bumped into, who's the first guy I've seen in years, yeah, literally, he said it's actually quite nice up through here. I said, yeah, it's a bit higgledy-piggledy, and there ain't too much trail maintenance done up through here, which is why I try to keep on top of it as much as I can. I fully expect those ones to come out of here soon. This is that mess that I cut out of here the other week. All this lot. Yeah. They're drying off good, look. It's amazing. A week, I can actually see the difference in colour in the wood there where it's drying out. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, these logs were bloody heavy, I can tell you. Those are the kind of logs that you need for a bridge. These. But one of those 22 foot long, there ain't no way in a million years I can move that. Need about 10 people to move that lugger. So I need to head on back to the forest that way. It's a little muddy down in here at the moment, but we do have some rain coming hopefully soon, because this is very dry. It's supposed to be 29 degrees today, which is why I've come out really early this morning to make a start on this, and then I'm going to head back and have a nice relaxing rest of the day. Right, so I'm going to head down that way and do some more later. Right, come back down the trail. This was the other bridge that I built in the same area. This one's only 14 foot, but this one's a bit more realistic. So when you put the big ends and the little ends together, it's actually not too bad. But this has got the decent cord on it. Oh, I didn't have any of that with me today, so unfortunately, but it just makes it so much easier to get across. So this forest is all like this. Finding a way through this lot is somewhat interesting, to say the least. But it's a good place to be. Yeah. So that one actually came out quite well. I like that one. But like I say, that's only 14 foot. Most of the bridges I build are only about that big. Usually crossing little creeks like this, because although that's not a very wide creek, the temptation is to jump it, and those rocks are extremely slippery. So rather than busting an ankle or wading through a foot of water, it's actually easy to just walk across a couple of logs. At some stage or other, if I find another log in the area that's down, and I'm sure there'll be another one of those trees down somewhere, I might just make that a 3-log one. But 2 logs works perfectly fine for that. The only problem with this is you get across here and then you've got to cut back all the way through this forest to get back on the trail. Right, which is exactly what I'm going to do. On I go.